We made this.
Hello everyone, this is Tony, Network Chief of We Made This. As you know, our podcast network brings together a brilliant assortment of talent who talk about all kinds of pop culture content, such as the episode you just listened to, or maybe you're just about to listen to. We're not going anywhere, but we'd love to keep the lights on for even longer if you're able to support our network on Patreon. For just £2 a month, you get your name in lights and the satisfaction of knowing you're helping us produce more great audio. And for £3 a month, you'll get your name in lights, but you'll also get access to an exclusive bi-monthly podcast from the We Made This talent pool on podcasting, pop culture, and, well, you tell us. We'll take your suggestions. For less than the price of a coffee per month, you can help keep We Made This going. Just head to patreon.com/We Made This. That's patreon.com/We Made This. And get the ball rolling. Now, back to your scheduled programming.
What's happening, you guys? Welcome back to Gotham University, back from a semi-hiatus. We're glad that you are listening. If you are a first-time listener, thank you for letting us listen into your ear holes. And if you're a constant listener, thank you again for joining. Jason M here, Mikey Slammer over there. We got some news, not a whole lot, just some semi-Batman news while we've been away. And we also have a review to discuss of a very big cult classic that is hoping to make its way into the big screen. Crossing fingers. But Mike, how are you?
Hey Jay, I'm doing good, man. I got my second Pfizer vaccination the other day. We had plans to record on that day, but man, I got to tell you, I was not feeling it. It was we've all been sick, right? Like with the flu, you get achy, you get the chills, then you're really hot. Man, it was all of that in a 24-hour period once I got my shot. And I was Googling it. I had a worse reaction to the second vaccine than I guess the average people do, because man, I was hurting. But better than the alternative. I got the vaccine. I'm happy about it. I feel good. I can go out. I can do things. I'm not stressed anymore. I mean, not so much, right? Like it helps. But all that to say, oof.
Good. Yeah, I know a lot of people have different reactions to it. My parents got the vaccine. My dad, both shots was okay, a little sore on the arm. My mom, first shot, sore on the arm. Second shot, done, and move for an entire day. And some people are just didn't feel anything about it. So, and then there was your case that felt it good the second time around. So we're all, but like you said, the alternative is much worse than the shot itself. So we're glad that slowly everything's opening back up and we're feeling a little bit of normalcy again, and we can finally start going out, enjoying the bars, enjoying the concerts, enjoying life again.
That's it, dude. Like that's what it's all about. I think tying state reopening to the vaccination rates that they're doing in Michigan, I think is pretty brilliant. I heard about that recently. Because it really compels you to go get your vaccine shot. Just do it. If you want to get back to life, get vaccinated. Easy peasy.
Yeah. I'm not trying to get political here, but I don't understand the whole, being or an anti-masker. You can't have both ways. You gotta just, buckle down and accept that this was a big deal. You can't avoid that. Just hide under your patriotism and say, don't take my freedom away, Merc. That's not how that always works. You got to just accept that, all right, we're in trouble. How do we fix this? You can't just, do thoughts and prayers all the time.
That's true. Yeah, man, it's wild. It's wild. But do me a favor. Tell me about the news that you have. I got to hear it.
Yes, so there are a couple of news headlines that came out in the last couple of weeks. One was an odd one. I got actually a link from a friend of mine at work who sent me this post, and it actually went around the internet during that time. So breaking news, not breaking news, Michael Keaton is going to play Batman in the upcoming Flash movie. It's great news, but I covered that. Like during the pre-We Made This era, we did a podcast episode about this, and I knew that because a month prior to that, they announced it going into DC's first ever fandom that Michael Keaton was going to be returning as Bruce Wayne. So when I heard that resurrect again last month, I thought, well, this isn't news, but it's circulating like it is. So I guess the reason why was because Michael Keaton did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and the interviewer, brought up him coming back, and Keaton said that he's a hardworking guy inside and outside of Hollywood. He said he wasn't sure because A, that reason, because he's doing multiple projects, and B, because of COVID restrictions. So COVID, or the movie is being held in London, and for those that are London got hit pretty hard with COVID, and he didn't want to take chances. So when he realized that this was going to be in London, and London was a very bad city, he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, which hit a massive red alert for Warner Brothers. They were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? The movie's going to be production in a couple of weeks. But at the same time, that very same interview, Keaton also said something along the lines of, well, I can't because it would be wrong to spoil anything. So was he trolling? Was he trolling people, or was he being factual about his position in the movie? Coming from a guy that's been in the film industry, very low, poor part of the film industry, I know that it takes a lot to screenwrite, and I know that a guy in Michael Keaton's position, you can't just recast him, and you can't just scratch his name and his scenes off and say, okay, let's go. That's a big deal for Warner Brothers, for everyone involved. So for him to just say in the last second, I can't do this, everything back by months. So would that have been the case? Absolutely. Was that going to happen? I don't know. But nevertheless, Michael Keaton was spotted in London in the very iconic Wayne Manor from 1989. So that Keaton is there. The classic Wayne Manor is there. And crossing fingers, I'm hoping this is a brand new picture. Warner Brothers did post a picture of the iconic and very beautiful 1989 Batmobile, the front end of the Batmobile. I'm hoping that was a brand new picture, because if it is, oh my God, we're going to see it again. I love that car so much. You cannot argue with me that there is another Batmobile better. To me, that is hands down the most beautiful piece of machinery out there.
Slick, man. I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped for it. I saw the picture with Wayne Manor, and I knew right away. I was like, this is gonna have a ripple effect of just good stuff for Batman in the future.
Yeah, and if the rumors are true that he is going to continue forward in the DCEU, regardless what universe he's going to be a part of, if he does in fact stick around, it's going to be a great show, and I pray we see a Batman Beyond live action. I really do. It's long overdue.
Wow. So what else you got for me?
And other news, there is a Batman out there that is not happy with Keaton's return or the Justice League movie that came out a couple of months ago by Zack Snyder. Mr. Robert Pattinson has been expressing disinterest in Michael Keaton's return and Ben Affleck's return to the cowl because and this part's the rumor, he doesn't want to share the spotlight with other Batmen. He feels that it's unfair that he has to share that when all the other Batmen in prior years didn't have to share that moment in the spotlight.
What?
So now that we have 3, he feels it's confusing the audience with other identities. Yeah, that is part of that is a rumor, is a solid rumor though, because people that broke the news that Ben Affleck was returning as Batman for the Justice League movie. But yeah, like, and it also kind of reinforces the whole reputation of Robert Pattinson being kind of a diva.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, that's how I feel it. So yeah, when the Snyder Cut came out, he wasn't very happy about it. He wasn't happy that now it's going to be him and 2 other actors sharing the spotlight for the cowl. I gotta say, not looking good. I mean, I'm still going to have high hopes for him, but at the same time, you got to be confident in your work. You got to believe that you're going to be the head horse.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, so he's joining something that's bigger than him. You know, Robert Pattinson putting on the cowl means that he will forever be ingrained in the Batman lore and the history of it. The only way he could screw himself here is if he continues to be a little baby about this. That's it. All he's got to do is shut up, go along for the ride, act his fucking face off, which we know he can, right? Play Batman, have a great role, you know, get called back to do 1 or 2 more movies or appearances, whatever. And he'll be riding high on that Batman lore. You know, he can always tap into that. Like, if you do a good job as one of these characters, fans will love you forever. I mean, even Val Kilmer, even George Clooney, as silly as those movies were and as silly as their takes on Batman were, they are forever going to be in this beloved franchise. And, you know, they can roll with that. People are going to watch it forever, literally until civilization ends, right? They will be known for it. So don't give me that baby back bullshit of, I don't want to share the spotlight. Boo. Get out of here. Boo, Robert Pattinson. Boo.
That was my whole issue, too, of, you know, you're going to always be put under the microscope when it comes to Batman. I mean, I'm a huge fan, and I know there are other fanatics out there that will, I think, agree with me when I say you're going to be under that spotlight and you're going to be under that microscope because we do take it seriously. And he did mention on one of his interviews that, you know, us fans take that role a little too serious, but we have every right to. This is by what, 82 years of this. We know what we want. When George Clooney bit Batman in 1997, we didn't want that. We didn't want campy and ridiculous. That was reserved for the 60s. We want dark, gritty, brutal force. And when Ben Affleck came and took that spot, we loved it. When Christian Bale took that spot, we loved it. And now Robert Pattinson, on that 2-minute trailer that came out last year, I was convinced that he can do it. I know he can do it. But when you're going to go out there and say, I don't want to share the spotlight, you come off like a child. You come off like a diva saying, I don't want to have this moment with other people. Dude, multi-universe now. You have the to share that spotlight with a bunch of other actors playing the same character. It may not be your taste, you know, tough tits. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not the end-all, be-all, alpha and omega here. You're going to have to compete, and you have to be confident in your work.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's wild out there, man. It's wild out there to try and be a Batman in these trying times, I guess.
And he's got a long way to go. There's rumors going that he's going to be signed on for, if the first one does well, he could be signed on for 2 more movies. And there's other rumors going, and I didn't want to get into it too much because it's only a rumor. It's not even worth the headline, really, that he is going to have a major role in future DCEU projects. I don't believe that because he hasn't even been on the screen yet. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck was actually set to star, write, and direct his own Batman movie, and that got cut because of the disaster that happened with Whedon. So I'm going to hold that, Pattinson taking over the Batman project until I actually see more success in his version.
Well, it remains to be seen.
I expected some good things. So, but in the meantime, Robbie, you're not going to be alone. You're not. You got a ways to go before you have that right. So,
yeah, right.
Well,
oh man,
but
what a trip.
Let's talk a review. Let's talk reviews.
Yeah. So, Jay, I asked you on our last episode, and this is something that a few people I know have always kind of wondered, right? Like when you're reading these comics, when you know that a character like Batman, Superman, whether it's Iron Man, Captain America, all these characters, where do you start in their stories? Like, do you just pick up in the middle of somewhere, jump in, or do you go all the way back to the chronological beginning? And whenever you have this massive sprawling franchise, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, you have Harry Potter series, where do you begin? And the answer for a lot of people when it comes to comics is I'm not even going to start because everything is so confusing. So you had suggested one of the first comics you could read, whether you know about the story or not, is The Court of Owls. And I read it, volume 1 here. And it's published as part of the New 52. So, folks, if you're looking for this, what you're looking for is Batman, The Court of Owls, the New 52, right? I picked this up, Jay. Bro, I couldn't put it down. I was glued. This thing had me rolling. There's a whole scene in the middle where Batman is going through this maze. And I got to be honest, I was having some heart palpitations. I was nervous. And the artwork, oh my God, it's gritty, it's gruesome. And some of these full color pages, there's one scene, that shit is going to live in my head rent free.
Which scene is that, or which page was that?
So it's one of the full color graphics, in between the series here. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if I'm gonna have the page number, but it's a scene following the maze where he's tweaking out and he is like part bat, part owl.
Okay, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's before he escapes.
Is it the one that he converts into the owl, or is it the?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's almost coming out of a horror.
It really is. There. Really is. Yeah, the artwork through this, some of these full color pages, when he comes to his senses and he's shaking all the owls off of him, and it's just like, enough! It's like, whoa. It's just shit is scary.
Yeah, he grows like 10 feet tall.
Yep.
The team of Scott Snyder, no relation to Zach, by the way, and Greg Capullo is a fantastic dynamic. I would put them as a modern day Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Like you said, you hit the head on the nail there. The graphics, the design is just beautiful. Greg Capullo can do no wrong when it comes to DC illustrations. There was some critical feedback with the New 52 and how it was drawn, but for some characters, but those two hit Batman with a home run. I mean, just the bat suit itself, it was simple, but it was sleek. Just the gray and the black, it was just gorgeous work that I would love to see more of on live action. Like you said, the full pages, the one that actually strikes me would be similar to when Bane broke Batman's back in Nightfall. And the page is when Batman's freaking out and he's saying, I'm not listening to you. And you see the panel. One panel is him freaking out, and then another panel is him freaking out. But you see in the background the Talon comes, and then the third page, which is a full page, is him going right behind Batman and stabbing him, and you see whatever that was going right through him, and you think for a second, "Oh my God, he's dead."
Yeah,
and then I think the next page was the bat signal exploding, almost kind of like a symbolism. Like, is Batman dead? Was that a symbolism of it being completely over? And then the issue ends, and you have to wait until next month for the next chapter to start. That one blew my mind, thinking, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
like, you talk about cliffhanger.
I'm flipping through some of these pages now. What's really clever about the artwork here is that there's a lot of subtle shadowing and framing of different things in each of the panels that on a single read or, just a cursory glance, you won't pick up on it. But if you watch closely, you see things starting to take shape. Like, especially in the maze is very prevalent with all the shadows, the way that they're hidden. Depending on where you're looking, you can kind of see the perspective that Talon is looking at Batman. And when Batman should be able to see Talon right in front of him, he can't. So there's lots of really interesting small hints and clues hidden inside the artwork. And I love that kind of stuff. These little bits of graphics that bring a world to life and naturally allude to something you might see later on, or, a little symbolism behind what the actual art is. Really clever and beautifully done. Even the writing is great too. I mean, it's not nearly as hokey as a lot of comic books can be. Like if I take issue with the Deadpool comics for a little bit of this, where some of the writing is so like wacky and silly that it's hard to actually enjoy it and take seriously. But of course, the character of Deadpool is a wacky, silly, person. So it's going to have that kind of feeling. But,
sure.
I like, and this is something I've always loved DC for, is the darkness in the comic, that they kind of highlight all the nastiness of life. And it's really hard to describe. It's not all dark and gritty and oh, woe is me, but it's realistic. And the artwork kind of reflects that, but it also highlights the extremes of all that sinisterness behind what our lives can be, right? So it's really cool, really cool. Great stuff with the art. The whole opening of Batman beating the shit out of inmates at Arkham Asylum. Awesome.
Yeah.
And
that threw me off in the beginning too. When I first read that for the first time, I didn't expect a team up between Batman and the Joker, and they went into that in detail. And then I'm thinking, wait, did I miss something? I thought it was Volume 1, Issue 1. Like, where, in what era did these two team up? And you go a few pages later and you find out that, it was one of Batman's technology of shattered face. I think, what do you call it? An EMP mask. Yep. And something straight out of Marvel, by the way. I'm pretty sure they did that in one of the Marvel movies. But still, I think they did this first in this comic book. But it was still kind of cool how he sent Dick Grayson undercover in Arkham to kind of find this corrupt cop or correction officer to do that. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, very cool stuff. It actually tricked me too. Like, when I first saw it, I was pretty like, what? He teamed up with the Joker? What am I reading? What am I about to go through here? And then, couple scenes later, you find out it's Dick Grayson. I was impressed with the technology showcased here. And I think, that's a really good thing, because they've always kind of like leaned really heavily on the detective stuff, but having Bruce Wayne like really into the technology stuff and having his lab, his own personal medical outfit, and installing like the scanners inside the coroner's office, like, that's really cool, forward-thinking stuff, and 100% in line with
what I think, a billionaire playboy would kind of get into,
Yeah, one of the best things that they did, and it goes along with the technology, was him realizing it to be what he has always been known as, and that is the world's greatest detective. He used it to, piece apart or pick apart every little thing that's going on in Gotham, all the way down to the origin of the city itself. Court of Owls wasn't just some fairy tale nursery rhyme. It was actually something that was a thing. And as a child, he even goes back into his childhood saying, this was my very first case, technically, was trying to find out the killer of my parents, to find out that it was nothing more than just some Joe Chill. But then we find out as an adult that it was, in fact, the Court of Owls that had something to do with the death of the Waynes. And he goes into this whole entire search for them. He goes into every ancient building inside Gotham trying to find the nests, which then puts him into that labyrinth that almost gets him killed. So, yeah, his detective skills was utilized very well here. And yeah, that tech plays a major part in it all the way until the end, I believe, when he used that tech robot to kill everybody in his own cave.
Yeah. Man, great comic. I don't know if I would recommend that people absolutely start here, but it does give you a real background of who Batman is and what he's capable of, and just how smart, clever, and it also introduces a lot of these characters. Like you have Commissioner Gordon, you've got the Joker in there. You've got Killer Croc is mentioned in there, right? You got Dick Grayson. You got Tim Drake. So these characters are iconic, and seeing them all in the one comic, even if it's just a single panel or a single line, I think it really shows a reader, like, there's a lot more here. There's a lot more story to read. Stick along for the ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things that if you are a diehard comic reader, this breaks off into multiple other comic storylines. Like, there is a Robin comic series, there is a Batgirl series, there is a Catwoman series that all ties into the Court of Owls saga. And I never read any of those, but that one scene goes into the City of Owls in the second book, where Batman fights off the court from the cave, and you see the entire flock just dispersed throughout the city trying to kill everybody. If you read other comic books, you see those storylines get used there, but you don't see it in the Batman story, because obviously you can only fit so much into a few pages.
Right.
So definitely, if you're a diehard reader, if you want to find what they've been doing outside the Batman lore, yeah, go ahead and check out this saga and then break off into, the Robin series, the Catwoman series. There's a whole bunch more, I believe. But yeah, they're definitely out there. The Court of Owls, huge thing that just didn't just go into Batman. It went beyond, no pun intended.
Wow. Yeah, I think the next one is the Night of the Owls. Batman, Night of the Owls. That's the crossover event with all the Batman family. So that's next on the list.
Yeah.
That's next on the list. But it's a great comic, easy read, simple. There's no...
Oh, yeah, tons easy.
There's no big twists or turns outside of a couple surprise moments. A very good introduction into what I think modern comics can be. So kudos. Good suggestion, Jay. I like it.
Thank you. And it did catch wind to the public eye, and it has been redone by the DCAU community. The animated movies did do a version, Batman versus Robin. Not the same. It was good, not great. If you're a fan of Damian Wayne, then you're going to like it. But overall, they try to capture certain elements from the original, from the origin comic. Wasn't the same. Like that maze scene, they try to capture it, and it wasn't as enticing. I mean, like in the comics, they mention that Batman's been gone for X amount of days, and in the animated movie, it happened like blink of an eye. Like it happened, he got caught, he got away. It's like, okay, then how did he get rescued? And they just blatantly put out there, oh well, we just found you. Like there was no showing that either. It was just, yeah, we found you somewhere. I'm like, well, that doesn't help make me want to keep going, but all right. But the whole point was, it wasn't a Batman story. It was a Robin story. So if you're into him, if you're into Damian Wayne, give it a watch. And then there was the Gotham version, the TV series Gotham, and we can do an entire show on that because I have my back and forth on that show, and the way they portrayed the court saga did not deliver whatsoever. When I finished reading the comics, I wanted to keep going. Like every page was, I got to keep going. With Gotham, it was like, I want this over with already. Like I was messaging you the other day saying, I'm going to go ahead and watch the court version on Gotham. I'm still not done. And it was only a few episodes, but I couldn't finish it. It just wasn't appealing to me.
Wow.
It took nothing away from the origin. And how could you? Because the TV show is based on a child Bruce Wayne. So everything that involved Bruce in the Court of Owls was replaced with either Alfred or Gordon or some other adult that had to fulfill or take place of Bruce Wayne. And I didn't.
Wow. Huh.
And I just wasn't feeling that at all. Like, it was more of a Gordon story than it was a Wayne story, and I didn't care for that at all. No disrespect to Gordon or Ben McKenzie, who played Jim Gordon. It's just not what I wanted when I see the Court of Owls. So,
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, the comic, you can't go wrong with the comic. Not at all. I would definitely give that a read. And like you said, Mike, it's not something that you want to go, starting from ground is where I want to find out everything about Batman. It's an idea, but if you really want to go from the very beginning, I would recommend Year One for sure. That's the one where you want to, look back and say, hey, like this is how it happened. This is how he became who he is, and this is how he did his training.
All right.
So yeah, definitely Year One is where you guys want to go to.
All right. So guess what? You just gave us our next one then. So it's they made a movie on it too. Sweet.
Yeah, it was an animated movie. Came out years ago, actually, quite a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I'm reading. Is this 1986?
No, the movie or the comic?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, so the comic, I guess, came out in 1986, and the movie was 2000. Oh,
okay, yeah. That was that was in around 2000s.
Right on. Cool. So Batman Year One is the next comic we will visit. Of course, legendary writer Frank Miller, right? So this is this before or after the infamous Dark Knight Returns?
I believe this was just after Dark Knight Returns.
Okay.
They're very close together.
Okay. And let me ask you this. So I'll read the comic. Should we also watch the animated movie?
The animated movie, from what I remember, is good. It's slow, so don't watch it if you're tired. But I would give it a watch.
Fair enough.
It takes from the comic book, and of course, Christopher Nolan took a huge chunk from Year One and put it into Batman Begins. So if you're reading this or if you're watching the animated movie and you're going, this looks familiar, well, that's because Nolan took a lot from it and put it into Batman Begins.
Awesome, dude. Thank you. This is
highly recommend
great. So what else, Jay? What else do we got to touch on before we head out?
Let's see. We did the court. We did the news. Actually, that's it. It's a pretty slow week for Batman. Right now, it's all about keeping an eye on film for future movies.
True.
We did touch up a couple of weeks ago on The Long Halloween.
We did.
Into that comic. If we want to get in that comic, we could. Great series, by the way.
All right. So how about we do this? How about we do Batman Year One on our next podcast? Why don't we just do both of them? We'll do Batman Year One and The Long Halloween.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm actually staring at him right, and we can do that.
All right. So we will reconvene next week on Year One and The Long Halloween. That will be our next episode. We'll come at you hot with 2 comic book reviews, and I will choose which one I think was the stronger comic book based on my. I don't know why you listen. I'm not the expert. Jay is the expert, but I'm
trying to think what you were gonna like more. Preference, I liked Long Halloween more, but you, I think you might like it too, more than Year One. I don't know. You gotta let me know how you feel about it when you read them both.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, guys, that's about it. We don't have a whole lot of news here. We got the reviews. Recommend Court of Owls. Recommend you're a Damian Wayne fan. Do not recommend going through Gotham. I mean, the good news is Gotham has other storylines tied around it, so you can easily avoid that and go focus on those storylines. But yeah, no, definitely read it. Court of Owls. I highly recommend. And I can't wait. Next year, I believe it's Rocksteady. They're they're releasing a Batman video game that will have the Court of Owls as their main one. So super excited on that one right there. I believe it's called Gotham Knights. From the teaser that was released last year, they said that it was supposed to be the death of Batman, or the mysterious disappearance of Batman, but most likely the death. And you, the player, get to play the Bat family. And then the very end of the teaser shows the talent. So that would give a huge giveaway that we're going to see Court of Owls.
Stoked for that. That's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I love playing the Arkham Asylum series.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So good. So good. I love those games because they just feel so true to themselves and to like what Batman actually is. And man, it's so satisfying beating up those thugs.
Mm-hmm. It's how fluid the movement is. Like you're just hitting one thug, bounce right to the next, and then just doing the slow motion, just punching through the skull. No, not literally, but he's dropping him to the ground. It's just amazing work right there. I love playing those games. But the weird thing about the next one coming out is that it's not a direct sequel to the Arkham games. It's kind of a brand new continuation, a brand new storyline. So it'll be interesting to see how they go with this direction.
Yeah. Like all those kinds of combat games, you really got to nail the combat in order to make them actually fun. Like it's got to feel like you're in the fight. And man, I got to tell you, like Spider-Man on PS4 had the same great combat mechanics with the combos and the takedowns. And when the camera decides like, oh, this is a cool takedown, and it just immediately gives you a cinematic of it. Oh man, it just feels so good.
Mm-hmm. When I first played Spider-Man, I thought the same exact thing. I thought, wow, this is just like the Arkham games. And it was just so easy and convenient. It was 100%. Good.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to fucking fight. All right, folks, I think that's going to be about it for this podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GothamUPod. Feel free to drop us a comment. If you like the show, leave us a review. I feed my family off of 5-star reviews, so please don't let my kids go hungry tonight.
Kids that I have no idea about except for the 2 4-legged ones that you have.
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to get us some reviews.
We would like some reviews, positive ones, preferably, but we would like them. Also, a good quick plug. Was it Podcast 616? I've been listening to a lot of them. I highly, highly recommend listening to them, especially if you guys are Marvel fans. Love listening to those reviews. So, yes, give them a follow, too.
Yeah, great shout out. I actually did a guest spot on one of the episodes. Really good group of guys and gals as well. It's just good stuff. And anyone who likes the Marvel Universe, unpacking what it means to have a black Captain America. The hosts of the podcast do a good job of explaining what it all means, breaking it down for comic book fans who, you know, are just now getting into the world of Marvel, you know, folks who had no idea that Falcon would become the new Captain America or vice versa. Really good stuff. Good group of guys and gals. Also on We Made This, there's a great new series called Real Talk, hitting all the movies. So whatever's big and popular on streaming, Real Talk is your place to unpack it. They've also gone into Godzilla versus Kong. We've done Sound of Metal, which I actually hosted on that one. So little bit of a plug, not going to lie. But yeah, going into Oscars. And of course, they also talked about Justice League.
Yeah, guys, just check out the We Made This umbrella. A lot of good content out there. It's not just about comic books, it's about movies, TV shows. Give it a listen.
Yeah, that's at WeMadeThisNetwork.com.
All right, guys, you heard the plugs. Check out Instagram, check out Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening. We will check back on you next week. And same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you again, guys. See you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Elsewhere on We Made This. Between the Notes.
So we've got another Netflix series and accompanying score, The Queen's Gambit by Carlos Rafael Rivera. Did you watch this over Christmas? Did you see it?
Well, funnily enough, I had at the start of last week, I had 2 days where I was working from home before I was going into a whole new job. And because I thought I was going to be working from home a lot more than I am, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to watch The Queen's Gambit in one day. So that's what I did. Yeah. I watched all 7 episodes of The Queen's Gambit in one morning and afternoon. So yes, I have seen it.
And it's sublime, isn't it? It's a really, really good. So I'm saying that. I'm assuming. Did you think that as well?
No. I thought it was incredible. Sorry. Shipwrecked and Comatose, a Red Dwarf podcast.
So with my track record, have you worked out where I'm going with this?
I have now, yeah.
Have now? Would it feel different if you had a wank?
Probably. But the thing is as well, it might be different. It might be different even with the left-hander and the left-hander though.
Really?
Different pace. It's different pace.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's a different cock. I hadn't thought of that.
Speaking of that, Chris Barry looks down. Well, Rimmer looks down, doesn't he? At some point.
Yes, he does.
We dig music.
I am amazed this made top 10.
Oh, I'm not. It's really good.
I really am.
I do not remember what this is like at all. My only comment when I was actually listening to it is bit nothingy.
I think it's really good, although it does suspiciously sound a lot like Sting's Shape of My Heart. What? It really does. The guitar melody is very much like it. It's got beautiful guitar and vocal.
You.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.